Let's dive into something you've probably never even thought about, a tiny, almost invisible software setting that, believe it or not, basically runs the modern world of logistics. It sounds so simple, but this one little rule is the secret ingredient that gets millions of products from a warehouse shelf all the way to your front door. Okay, to really get this massive global system, we're going to start small, like in your own kitchen. Picture this. You just bought a big bag of rice and you're pouring it into your pantry jar. You fill it right up to the brim, but you're left with this awkward little handful of rice still in the bag, you know? It's not really enough to start a whole new jar, but it feels like a waste to just toss it. So, what do? Well, that little moment of indecision, we're going to call that the pantry problem. And believe it or not, this exact same dilemma is being faced by giant fulfillment centers every single second of every day, but on a scale that is just mind-boggling. At its heart, the choice is pretty simple, right? Do you try to cram that last little bit of rice into the jar that's already full, maybe spilling some on the counter? Or do you just grab a brand new empty jar and start fresh, leaving you with two containers, neither of which is full? And that, right there, is the fundamental question. Okay, so now let's scale this up. Let's leave the pantry and head to a modern warehouse. Instead of a jar of rice, I want you to think of a massive bin that holds hundreds, maybe thousands of items. And instead of just you, think of thousands of workers and robots moving constantly. All of a sudden, that small choice, yeah, it isn't so small anymore. I mean, the scale we're talking about here is just immense. A single large fulfillment center can process over 1 million items being put away onto shelves every single day. That is 1 million tiny pantry problems happening over and over and over again. And if a worker is constantly being told by the system to, say, go to a nearly full bin, drop off just 5 items, and then walk all the way across the warehouse to put the rest of their cart into a new bin, well, you can see how the wasted time just adds up. Multiply that by 1 million, and you literally have a recipe for complete operational chaos. It costs an incredible amount of time and money. So how do you solve this? I mean, you can't have a human manager making every single one of these million decisions. You need a simple automated rule. Let's just call it the almost full rule for now. It is a beautifully elegant solution to a massive, really complicated problem. Now, the official technical name for this is threshold addition. It's basically just a value you set in the warehouse management software. All it does is tell the system, hey, if a storage bin is already past a certain point, let's say it's 90% full, just don't even consider it for a top-off. Instead, just send the worker with the new items directly to a completely empty bin. It is honestly that simple. Okay, let's break down exactly how this works with a really clear example. Imagine a storage bin and its maximum capacity is 100 widgets. And let's say the warehouse managers have set this threshold addition rule for this specific bin. So here's the setup. The bin's total capacity is 100. The company has set that threshold at 90%, or 90 widgets. Now, this is a number they can adjust depending on the product, but for now, it's 90. And as you can see, the bin is currently holding 95 widgets, so it's already past that threshold. All right, so here comes a worker. They're being guided by their handheld scanner, and they've got a cart full of more widgets to put away. Now, the system is smart. It knows this bin still has space for 5 more widgets. So does it direct the worker to this bin to top it off? What do you think? The answer is a hard, immediate no. The system sees that the current stock of 95 widgets is already past that 90% threshold we talked about. So the rule kicks in. The system completely ignores this bin as a potential place to go. It won't even suggest it as an option. You know, the system's logic is actually super simple and really efficient. It just asks one question. Is this bin already past its almost full threshold? If the answer is no, then sure, it's a valid destination. But if the answer is yes, like in our example, the system basically says, nope, don't waste a trip. Find a new empty bin for that entire cartload. And the payoff is huge, right? Without the rule, a worker might have to make 2 separate stops, a really time-consuming split trip. But with the rule, the system forces a single efficient trip to just one location. One task, one stop. That's the whole game. So, okay, this is a neat little bit of logistics trivia, but why does any of this actually matter to you, the person who's just ordering things online? Well, turns out this simple rule has a direct impact on the speed and even the cost of pretty much everything you buy. Look, by optimizing every single one of these little steps, threshold addition cuts down the time workers spend just walking around. That means products get onto the shelves and become ready to ship to you much, much faster. It also lowers the warehouse's operating costs, which can actually mean lower prices for you. This tiny rule is a critical gear in the invisible machine that makes 2-day or even same-day shipping a reality. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, when a simple instruction like don't top off an almost full container can have such a massive impact on the entire global economy, it kind of begs the question, what other simple rules like this are out there, hiding in plain sight, quietly making our incredibly complex modern world actually work?